Gotta love yourself before you learn how to love somebody. You better love yourself. Gotta love yourself before you learn how to love somebody else. You gotta love yourself before you learn how to love somebody else. You better love yourself. You gotta love yourself before you learn how to love somebody else. How you gon' say you love yourself when you put poison in your body? Knowing it's killing you, but you can't stop cause you enjoy it. Risk is greater than a reward, you gotta use life. We got the world wide web, you got access to knowledge. I can't stay silent, I gotta keep it silent. I'm tired of my people dying from lack of even trying. Understand that it's bad for you, but you justify it. Know what you need to do, but the truth is you deny it. Voluntary blindness, aiding genocide, it's suicide if you push solutions to the side. Our ignorance got a penalty that make me wanna cry. Can't put two and two together, realize we the 12 tribes. Body supposed to be the temple, but the temple been defiled. If you can't worship him and be him, want no praise from your mouth. His commandments teach us everything love is about. Without him, it ain't no way you can love yourself at all. Gotta love yourself before you learn how to love somebody. You better love yourself. You gotta love yourself before you learn how to love somebody. You better love yourself. You gotta love yourself before you learn how to love somebody. You better love yourself. You gotta love yourself before you learn how to love somebody. You better love yourself. When I say love yourself, ain't talking about you pleasing your flesh. More like practicing refraining from what's bringing you depth. The cares and wonders of the world, that's what be bringing you stress. Trying to keep up with them trends, that's what got you depressed. We be the biggest consumers, but really need to invest. We so predictable, they don't see us as a threat. Mentality's full of trash, when we gon' clean up the mess? Our community the worst, so who gon' bring out the best? We got low expectations, so we settle for less. We get undeserved kindness, so we think that we blessed. We don't love ourselves, that's why we be killing each other. We still breaking commandments, that's why we stuck in the struggle. Glaring evidence with no change, you got me befuddled. Don't know how to show humility, even though we been humble. Grace and mercy, you ain't dead, yeah, that's how much he love you. Giving you chance after chance, cause he waiting on you to love you. You gotta love yourself before you learn how to love somebody. You better love yourself. You gotta love yourself before you learn how to love somebody. You better love yourself. You gotta love yourself before you learn how to love somebody. You better love yourself. You gotta love yourself before you learn how to love somebody. You better love yourself. Everybody always talking about generational curses, but nobody ever talks about what we gotta do to break these generational curses. And in order to do that, you gotta learn how to love yourself. And when I talk about loving yourself, I mean keep the Most High's commandments. He created us, so He know what's best for us. And doing what's best for you is the highest form. You gotta love yourself before you learn how to love somebody. You better love yourself. You gotta love yourself before you learn how to love somebody. You better love yourself. You gotta love yourself before you learn how to love somebody. You better love yourself. You gotta love yourself before you learn how to love somebody. You better love yourself.
Can I ease the pain? How can I ease the pain? Gotta ease the pain, man. Gotta ease the pain. Gotta ease the pain, man. Ambulance sign, another mama crying. Shots fired, another man dying. He got a son that he left behind. So who gon' care for that man child? A vicious cycle getting carried out. We love playing it, but the game fire. Look at the scope, we getting blown out. All the pain experience got us traumatized. The important gets minimized, and our children get penalized. It's like we don't wanna realize that the time for a change is right now. We gotta turn to the Most High. Scripture got the answers that we can't find. This is time to get revitalized. Before he send his son back and we out of time. How can I ease the pain? How can I ease the pain? Gotta ease the pain, man. Gotta ease the pain. Gotta ease the pain, man. Gotta ease the pain. Police sign of the mama crying. Her son the one that laid that man down. Jumped in that water and he got drowned. He can't take it back, he gotta do the time. For a lot of family members, he the one provide. So the effect gon' trickle down. But he ain't think about that at that time. That lifestyle come with a one-track mind. All we know is live a life of crime. Cause People in pain and it's agonizing. We can still hear cause we still alive, but we gotta repent before we out of time. How can I ease the pain? How can I ease the pain? Gotta ease the pain, man. Gotta ease the pain. Gotta ease the pain, man. Gotta ease the pain.
I think we give the title friend away too easy. Like, these people are associates, you know them, and you're on good standings, but is that person your friend? Because if that person is your friend, they'll truly have your best interest at heart. They'll want to see you do well. They want everything that you want for yourself if they want it, because that's going to make you shine from your core.
Make sure you proving the friend. Before in them you trust. Don't be hasty to credit. Cause folks be moving corrupt. Yeah, they be moving corrupt. Make sure you proving the friend. Before in them you trust. Don't be hasty to credit. Cause folks be moving corrupt. Yeah, they be moving corrupt. I'ma tell you a story about a brother named Khalil. He came from a broken home, poorer than the other kids. Holes in his shoes and clothes. He wasn't accepted by his peers. Imagine going through junior high without one real friend. Fast forward to high school, he started keeping up with trends. Got a job to pry summer and start stacking dividends. His transformation gained him a new reputation as a cool kid. Just what he always hoped to gain attention and friends. What he ain't know was all his new friends gained wasn't genuine. He had no clue what the betrayal he about to experience. He ain't solo no more. Khalil running with a clique. Marcus and Jarrell, he say that them his best friends. Make sure you proving the friend. Before in them you trust. Don't be hasty to credit. Cause folks be moving corrupt. Yeah, they be moving corrupt. Make sure you proving the friend. Before in them you trust. Don't be hasty to credit. Cause folks be moving corrupt. Yeah, they be moving corrupt.
Shalom, family. One of the most important things is for us to be holy. Now, what does that mean? That means we have to separate ourselves from the world and build unity and community. Grab yourself a shirt that expresses that message, and let's not just talk about it, let's live it.
Ain't no free will, it's all predestinated. From every death to every child brought forth through copulation. From the spouse that you choose to your current occupation, you either receive mercy or Yahweh's indignation. I can recollect on times that I could have been dead. Caught lacking, no strap, I had a knife instead. Played it cool, he wanted to kill me for how I used to move. Had to match his energy, portray that I was strapped too. But inside I'm praying to God, hoping he don't shoot. Then I'm whooping, telling him I know where he won't. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. Salvation ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. Salvation ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. Yeah, many you call, but few get chosen. Matthew 22 and 14. My righteousness gonna exceed that of the Pharisees. Do what they. Shalom, family. Shalom,
Hey, peace, King. Peace, family.
Peace. So first we want to start off, as we always do, by giving all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, whose name is Yahweh. And we do so by Shem HaMashiach, Yahweh Shai. That's in the name of his only begotten son, who most around the world know as Jesus Christ. And I'm your brother Hurt. And I also have with me my brother Aaron. And tonight's lesson is the book of 1 Peter, breakdown chapter 5. And this is the last chapter of the book of 1 Peter. And all praise to the Most High for him allowing us to be able to go through this book and for it to be a blessing to us when we're putting these lessons together, and also for those of you that have been edified throughout the duration of these chapter breakdowns. So all praise to the Most High. Ak, you got anything you want to add?
All praises to the Most High. Nothing to add, King. Just the usual peace and blessings. All praises to the Most High God for bringing us together once again. The last chapter in the book of 1 Peter, chapter This is chapter 5, so definitely looking forward to this one. Make sure to like the video if you haven't already. Make sure to like/heart the video if you're on the Facebook platform, and utilize the link that I put in the chat if you're going to share. And also utilize the @highlight, the @follower feature, etc., and share to different platforms so that the content in the channel can be spread abroad. But now I don't have anything else to add, King. I'm looking forward to the lesson.
Con, all praises, all praises. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get into it. And y'all, this is gonna be a shorter lesson. This is a short chapter. It's only 14 verses. So it should be a short lesson. I say it's gonna be a short lesson. I'll just say it should be pretty short lesson.
Lord in Christ.
Having issues getting it screen share.
Yeah, I had to back out just now.
God.
I'm back in right now.
There we go. So screen is being shared. Oops, not like that. that was my fault. It's the wrong button.
Should pop up now. It'll probably take a second, but it's loading on my side.
Come. Yeah, it's about to come up now.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna start with the first 4 verses.
Come. It's the book of 1 Peter, chapter 5, starting at verse 1. The elders which are among you I exhort, who am also an elder, and a witness of the sufferings of the Messiah, and also a partaker of the glory that shall be revealed. Feed the flock of God which is among you, taking the oversight thereof, not by constraint, but willingly, not for filthy lucre, but of a ready mind, neither as being lords over God's heritage, but being ensamples to the flock. And when the chief shepherd shall appear, ye shall receive a crown of glory that fadeth not away.
Con, all praise. So the first verse says, the elders which are among you, I exhort. So he's addressing, encouraging those that would be elders among us, who am also an elder. So he identifies himself as an elder also. Says, and a witness of the sufferings of Christ, and also a partaker of the glory that shall be revealed. Feed the flock of God, which is among you, taking the oversight thereof, not by constraint, but willingly, not for filthy lucre, but of a ready mind. So when it says not by constraint, it's just saying that it shouldn't be something that you feel forced to do. It should be something you're doing willingly, that you enjoy actually doing, is overseeing the flocks, overseeing the flock. And if you could grab oversight in the Greek.
Okay. God, this is G 1983 Episcopeo, and it's a verb. Usage is to look upon, inspect, oversee, look after, care for, of the care of the church, which rested upon the elders, to look carefully, beware. And the definition, it says to oversee, by implication to beware, look diligently, take the oversight.
Con. So to oversee, to beware, look diligently. So overseeing the flock causes you to have to be active, to actively be involved in whatever those that are of the flock, the sheep of the flock, have going on in their lives. And this is a two-way street. even with those that would be part of a congregation, the sheep would have to be willing to share things with the elders or with the overseers that, hey, there's some things that I'm dealing with right now, brother. I need your help, man. I can't do this on my own. I need somebody to help guide me, give me a little counsel. It has to be a two-way street, because there are things that the overseers are not going to know unless that person that's dealing with those things comes and brings those things to the light and to the recognition of the elder or the overseer. And Shalom, Brother Paraz, Sister Wendy, and Brother Drayson, Kings and Queens Coaching Group. And to everybody else that are watching, peace and blessings to you also if you haven't commented. But I'll go to the next verse. Verse 3, it says, neither as being lords over God's heritage, but being ensamples to the flock. So when it says neither as being lords over God's heritage, it's saying because we're not supposed to try and make ourselves like we the Most High. We're just supposed to enforce what the Most High has spoken, what he's told us to do, not try to get people to worship us, but to worship the Father. And we do that by being examples to the flock, because we can talk till we blue in the face to somebody and they can identify and observe us and say, man, he always talking about do this and do that. But then when you look at him, he doing exactly what he telling us don't do. There's no way your ministry can be effective if what you're telling people not to do, you're actually doing. Brother, give me 1 Peter 2, verses 21 through 24.
This is the book of 1 Peter, chapter 2, chapter 21 through 24.
Yes, sir.
Starting at verse 21. For even hereunto were ye called, because Christ also suffered for us, leaving us an example that ye should follow his steps, who did no sin, neither was guile found in his mouth, who, when he was reviled not again. When he suffered, he threatened not, but committed himself to him that judgeth righteously, who his own self bare our sins in his own body on the tree, that we, being dead to sins, should live unto righteousness, by whose stripes ye are healed.
So verse 21 says, for even hereunto were ye called, because Hamashiach also suffered for us, leaving us an example that ye should follow his steps. So we know the whole point of the Messiah coming was to come. He was supposed to come and walk perfectly, and he was to do no sin, and that's what happens. But the other purpose was to lead by example, so we could have something to look to when we saw how he walked while he was on earth. But just imagine if he didn't walk it like he talked it, or he didn't practice what he preached. How many people you think would have actually followed behind him and actually believed him? Nobody. Because how are you going to tell me to do something, or you're supposed to be the example I'm supposed to follow, but you saying one thing out your mouth and you live in another way? It don't work like that. Brother, give me 1 Corinthians 11, 1 and 2. Well, give me just one. Give me just verse 1 first.
This is the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 11, starting just reading verse 1. Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Christ.
Right. You don't want to follow no man unless you can look at that man and see that he's actually following Christ. That's why Paul said, be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Christ. Because we're not supposed to just be following behind man. We're supposed to be following behind the Messiah. So if the Messiah set an example that Paul himself was able to observe, he takes that example and he says, okay, this is how I'm supposed to do it. Well, I'm going to live like that. It's only right for him to teach those that are under him, that study under him, hey, follow me as I follow Christ. So I'll give me verse 2.
Verse 2. Now I praise you, brethren, that you remember me in all things, and keep the ordinances as I delivered them to you.
Right. So with the first verse being what it says, we have to come to the logical conclusion that these ordinances that he's delivering to the congregation, he himself follows those ordinances. And Ak, if you want to add something, you can.
Kind all praises to the Most High. And just keeping it with the Apostle Paul, and I put this in the chat. This is what he said to another congregation, specifically them in Ephesus. Acts chapter 20, verse 28. Continuing on in the theme, it says, "Take heed, therefore, unto yourselves and to all the flock, over the which the Holy Spirit hath made you overseers, to feed the church of God, which he hath purchased with his own blood." And contextually, when you read maybe about 10 verses earlier, it says that the Apostle Paul, he gathered the elders in Ephesus. So he's literally speaking to elders, similar to when it starts off in 1 Peter chapter 5. He speaks about elders and groups himself within the elders. So Paul, again, given the same wisdom that Peter gives, he tells them to, basically conduct themselves seemingly, as overseers. And for the reason, because the Most High, through his son's bloodshed, or because of his son's bloodshed, redeemed or purchased the church by his blood. So again, with all of that, what that entails is the proper conduct and the proper nourishment and leadership that comes with being the leader of the congregations of the Most High. And just one point, just even dealing with Peter, let's go to the book of John, chapter 21, read verse 15. Just dealing with that point on nourishment and the flock and the shepherd, so on and so forth. I'll bring this out. It's the book of John, chapter 21. And I'm gonna start at 15. "So when they had dined, Yahushua said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me more than these? He saith unto him, Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee. He saith unto him, Feed my lambs. He saith to him again the second time, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? He saith unto him, Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee. He saith unto him, Feed my sheep. He saith unto him the third time, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? Peter was grieved because he said unto him the third time, Lovest thou me? And he said unto him, Lord, thou knowest all things. Thou knowest that I love thee. Yahushua saith unto him, Feed my sheep. And so something to pick up from there is that there's a lot of emphasis on the feeding of the sheep. And when you go into the word for feed, it actually references nourishment, which is actually bringing up somebody, whether it be physically or in this case spiritually, bringing them to a mature state so that they can actually walk correctly. And this is what the Messiah, he assigned this to the apostles, specifically Simon Peter, which is called one of the pillars of the church. So this is just, bearing witness to what the Messiah already told them to do, as far as conduct and as far as their responsibility. But just wanted to add that point, King.
Khan, all praise. Let's go to 1 Peter 3. And give me just verse 1 and 2. And if you were present for this lesson, the chapter 3 breakdown, you'll remember the lesson we learned throughout this chapter, in particular these first two verses also.
1 and 2.
Yes, sir.
It's the book of 1 Peter chapter 1, chapter 3, starting at verse 1. Likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husbands, that, if any obey not the word, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives, while they behold your chaste conversation coupled with fear.
Khan. And so what we went over in that chapter, where it speaks of conversation, this don't actually mean conversation. This just means your conduct. So even the wives or even the sisters, y'all have to be aware of your conduct, and you're supposed to be an example also to those that may observe you as you go out and about in this world. But yeah, we can get back to 1 Peter 5. And give me just verses 5 through 7.
Jumping on to verse 5. It says, likewise, ye younger, submit yourselves unto the elder. Yea, all of you be subject one to another, and be clothed with humility. For God resisteth the proud, and giveth grace to the humble. Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time, casting all your care upon him, for he careth for you.
All praises. So, the emphasis that we see, I think I want to put emphasis on what it says about. It says, likewise, ye younger, submit yourselves unto the elder. Yea, all of you be subject one to another, and be clothed with humility. For God resisted the proud, and giveth grace to the humble. And now when you look at this, submitting ourselves one to another, like when you think about the submission as far as a wife to the husband, this is talking about a different type of submission. It's talking about servitude. It's talking about making sure we're available to our brothers and sisters and submitting to whatever the need may be whenever we find ourselves in a situation where we're needed. So this is definitely very important when it comes to the ministry, because people learn from those examples too, because that's about loving your brothers as yourself, loving your brethren as yourself. Brother, give me Matthew 23, 11 and 12.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 23, starting at verse 11. But he that is greatest among you shall be your servant, and whosoever shall exalt himself shall be abased, and he that shall humble himself shall be exalted.
So the one that's greatest among us is supposed to be the servant. This is how you get deemed or get recognized as the greatest among our brethren, because you're a servant. You become the ultimate servant, and this is how the Most High actually exalts you. It says, and whosoever shall exalt himself shall be abased, and he that shall humble himself shall be exalted. So looking at this thing in a spiritual sense, you're only exalted by the Most High when you commit your life to submission, to servitude to your people, however you may see fit. Give me Matthew 20, 25 through 28.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 20, starting at verse 25. But Yahushua called them unto him and said, ye know that the princes of the Gentiles exercise dominion over them, and they that are great exercise authority upon them. But it shall not be so among you. But whosoever will be great among you, let him be your minister. And whosoever will be chief among you, let him be your servant. Even as the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister and to give his life a ransom for many.
Right. All praises. So even the Messiah came. His ministry was all about serving. It wasn't about being served. It was all about serving. So if we're following his example, this is what we're supposed to be about. This is what our ministry is supposed to be about. And this is what our conduct is supposed to be about. We're supposed to be servants. It says, ye know that the Salakia says, but Yahushua called them unto him and said, ye know that the princes of the Gentiles exercise dominion over them, and that they that are great exercise authority upon them. But it shall not be so among you. Whosoever will be great among you, let him be your minister. So we see that the way of the heathen is to try and lord themselves over people, and not to serve their people, but to basically, this is oppression. just want to be the authority, but there is no help that they're offering. It says that, but it shall not be so among you, but whosoever will be great among you, let him be your minister. And whosoever will be chief among you, let him be your servant. Even as the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister and to give his life a ransom for many. We're supposed to give our life a ransom for many, not literally like he did, but our life is supposed to be devoted to the ministry, to teaching our people the law, statutes, and commandments, and being an example to them by the way we live. Ak, you want to add anything?
Con, I just placed it in the chat, just based on your point about how the Messiah, he came to be a servant, and even Matthew 20 spoke to that. But this is the book of Romans chapter 15 verse 8 in the NLT. It says, remember that Christ came as a servant to the Jews to show that God is true to the promises he made to their ancestors. So the Messiah's ministry, and even when you go into the word ministry, it literally was to serve the Most High and to serve the people, because he's bringing reconciliation, or he's helping bring reconciliation back to our God. So just intrinsically, the Messiah, he was a servant at heart. And, you know, when he returns, obviously he'll be a king, but even within his rulership, you know, he's not shown to be a tyrant over his people. So I just wanted to add that point, but you got it, King.
Con. All praises. Let's go to let's go ahead and go back to 1 Peter 5. And let's read verses 8 through 11 this time. And you're on mute too, King.
Water. This is 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour, whom resist steadfast in the faith, knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren that are in the world. But the God of all grace, who hath called us unto his eternal glory by Hamashiach Yahushai, after that ye have suffered a while, make you perfect, establish, strengthen, settle you.
Con. All praises. So looking at verse 8, it says, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. So being sober means being circumspect or being on point. You're paying attention. And if we're not paying attention, we see that the consequences of not paying attention would be that the devil, he's looking to devour somebody that's not on point, somebody that's not paying attention, somebody that's not circumspect. So when you think about it, like when you aren't sober, like if you were in the world and you used to get drunk or used to get high, if you're under the influence of something that's an unnatural or outside source, it's going to cause you to be a little lackadaisical. It's going to cause you to be a little off kilter than when you're sober. When you're sober, you have clarity. You're able to pay more attention. But when you allow yourself to be drunk off of philosophy, because that's what it's referring to, drunk off of false doctrine, it's going to have you under the influence of it, which may alter your decision making and will make you make a bad decision. And that's what Satan is actually waiting for. So we have to be on guard that and make sure we're not falling victim to becoming drunk off of the wine of the doctrine, of false doctrine. So it says in verse 9, it says, whom resist steadfast in the faith, knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren that are in the world. But the God of all grace, who have called us into his eternal glory by Hamashiach Yahushua. After that, ye have suffered a while, make you perfect, establish, strengthen, settle you. To him be glory and dominion forever. Amen. So it also tells us in verse 8, it says for us to be vigilant, to be sober and be vigilant. Being vigilant means you're watching for, you're paying attention and looking for things that may be out of place, things that may not be pleasing to the Most High. So what I want to do, y'all, we're going to look at an incident where our people were not vigilant, where our people were not sober, and it allowed them to be influenced by this outside influence that wasn't of the Most High. So we're going to look at the golden calf incident. Ak, if you could, let's go to Exodus 3.
You said the golden calf?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And we're gonna start with Exodus 3, verses 7 through 10.
I think you might mean 32.
Nah, not yet.
Okay,
We're
okay.
gonna build up to that point.
Kind of got you.
I just want to get this backstory so everybody can understand what's going on when we get to Exodus 30.
Okay. So start at 7 and read down to 10. Kind of the book of Exodus chapter 3, starting at verse 7. And Yahweh said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows, and I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of that land unto a good land, and a large unto a land flowing with milk and honey, unto the place of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites. Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel is come unto me, and I have also seen the oppression wherewith the Egyptians oppressed them. Verse 10. Come now therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt.
So I wanted to read this so everybody can be on the same page that and understand that we were in Egypt for about 200 years, 210 years, something like that. And during that time, we were basically being forced to serve false gods. So our ways that we had adopted wasn't our culture. We weren't living the way we were supposed to. So when we came out and we journeyed through the wilderness, we were still accustomed to the ways that we had when we were living in this foreign land. So just to get that backstory, and we're going to continue going, I'll give me Exodus 24, 12 through 18.
And this is the book of Exodus, chapter 24, starting at verse 12. And Yahweh said unto Moses, come up to me into the mount, and be there, and I will give thee tables of stone, and a law, and commandments which I have written, that thou mayest teach them. And Moses rose up, and his minister Joshua, and Moses went up into the mount of God. And he said unto the elders, tarry ye here for us, until we come again unto you. And behold, Aaron and Hur are with you. If any man have any matters to do, let him come unto them. And Moses went up into the mount, and a cloud covered the mount.
Through 18, King.
18. Verse 16. And the glory of Yahweh abode upon Mount Sinai, and the cloud covered it 6 days. And the seventh day he called unto Moses out of the midst of the cloud. And the sight of the glory of Yahweh was like devouring fire on the top of the mount in the eyes of the children of Israel. And Moses went into the midst of the cloud, and gat him up into the mount. And Moses was in the mount 40 days and 40 nights.
All praise. So verse 12 shows us that Yahweh said to Moses, come up to me into the mount. This is when he went up to Mount Sinai to receive the laws. It says, and be there, and I will give thee tables of stone and a law and commandments which I have written, that thou mayest teach them. And Moses rose up and his minister Joshua, and Moses went up into the mount of God. And he said unto the elders, tarry ye here for us until we come again unto you. And behold, Aaron and Hur are with you. If any man have any matters to do, let him come unto them. I almost sound like Aaron and Hur. But it, you know, when you think about what was going on, Aaron was left actually as the head. He was left in charge as the one that, you know, if they needed anything to, you know, and also Hur, but Aaron specifically was the main man in charge at this point in time. So just so y'all can get the backstory before we actually go to the account. So it says that in verse 16, the glory of Yahweh abode upon Mount Sinai, and the cloud covered it 6 days. And the 7th day he called unto Moses out of the midst of the cloud. And the sight of the glory of Yahweh was like devouring fire on top of the mount in the eyes of the children of Israel. So they were able to see this going on while they're down. They're not in the mountain, but they can see the devouring fire on top, the glory. It says, and Moses went into the midst of the cloud and gat him up into the mount. And Moses was in the mount 40 days and 40 nights. So he's up there for 40 days and 40 nights. Now let's get to the account. Exodus 32. And brother, just read verse 1.
This is Exodus 32, starting at the first verse. And when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron and said unto him, Up, make us gods, which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what is become of him.
Right. So he was up there for 40 days and 40 nights. And during this time, our people started to grow impatient. They started to doubt and they started to lose faith. So it says that they told Aaron and said, make us gods, which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what has become of him. They don't know what then happened to Moses. They believe something that happened, something bad has befallen Moses because he's not back yet. Now, remember the point I made about us being in Egypt for 200 years. We were used to having something visibly as a representation of the gods that we would serve. So this is why they have this thought in their mind. And because Moses he hasn't came back yet. So they're like, what God is this we serve? And Moses ain't came back. Did he kill him? What's going on? So they're befuddled. They're confused. They don't know what to do. So all they know is to go back to what they know. That, hey, if we got a visible representation of our God, we'll be happy with that. So make us a God. I'll read verses 2 through 4.
Continuing on verse 2. And Aaron said unto them, break off the golden earrings which are in the ears of your wives and of your sons and of your daughters, and bring them unto me. And all the people brake off the golden earrings which were in their ears, and brought them unto Aaron. And he received them at their hand, and fashioned it with a graving tool, after he had made it a molten calf. And they said, these be thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt.
It's crazy, right? So, like I stated before about the being sober, because that was the point in 1 Peter 5 in verse 8, where it talked about us continuing to be sober, circumspect, and for us to be vigilant. So we're watching for things that can come, that can influence us to do the things that are not pleasing to the Most High. And what I said was, when you're under the influence of an unnatural or outside source, this is what's going to influence you to do something that's not of the Most High. And this influence for us at that point in time was what we learned in Egypt. We learned idolatry in Egypt. And so this thought crept back in their mind when they had this lack of faith. The first thing that crept back in their mind was something that they learned from an unnatural source that was not of the Most High. Now, looking at verse 2, it says, and Aaron said unto them, break off the golden earrings, which are in the ears of your wives, of your sons, and of your daughters, and bring them unto me. And all the people break off the golden earrings, which were in their ears, and brought them unto Aaron. And he received them at their hand, and fashioned it with a graving tool, after he had made it a molten calf. And they said, these be thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And you know what's so sad about this is Aaron, as a leader, was supposed to know better and was supposed to show better. He wasn't supposed to fall victim to them coming enticing him by saying, hey, make us a god, make us a god. And he told them how to do it. Hey, give me all your gold and I'll do it for you. It's crazy because it makes you think about what it makes you think about is Adam and Eve also, because Adam was supposed to be responsible for leading Eve. When Eve brought this outside influence to Adam, he didn't rebuke it and shut it down, even though he knew better. He just allowed that outside influence to infiltrate. And he went along. He was going along to get along. It's the same thing we see with Aaron. And Aaron probably has some type of fear also of the people, because there's plenty of these people. He's probably scared. Like, what if I tell them, nah, I'm not going to do that? How are they going to act? Are they going to get unruly? Are they going to try to rise up and kill me? And that's his lack of faith also, his lack of trust in Yahweh, that he will be okay if he just continues to follow the ways of the Most High. So it says in verse 3, and all the people break off the golden earrings which were in their ears and brought them into Aaron. And he received them at their hand and fashioned it with a graving tool, after he had made it a molten calf. And they said, these be thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. So they attributed them being saved out of Egypt to this idol that they had just created, which is crazy. Khan, and you can speak on that too if you want to, King.
Yeah, Khan, because you made the point about like their former setting, like in Egypt. And when you read in the book of Exodus, specifically chapter 12, it says that they came out of mixed multitude, and not even really getting into like the identity of the mixed multitude. Like some people, they have different stances on it, but just looking at the group itself, this mixed multitude, you know, they brought a lot of issues and troubles as you read throughout the Torah, specifically when you read Numbers 11, because they prompted and influenced the rest of the children of Israel to lust after things that they shouldn't have. And if you do take the understanding and the position that the mixed multitude was interwoven people with Israelites and non-Israelites that had mingled together, you know, because of marriages and things like that, then this makes all the sense in the world. You know, like you have a group that's influenced by people that inherently aren't the people of God, that don't really have the inclination to serve God, and they're, you know, influencing the people that are around that are supposed to be serving God. So, you know, you also have that, you know, type of bug, so to speak, that are in people's ears as well. But other point, because you made mention of Adam and Eve, when you read about, and I think it says it in this chapter, when you read about the result of the actual transgression in the book of Genesis and the account of Adam and Eve, it actually says that they were naked, and you know they needed, I believe, ram skins to cover themselves because they were naked, right? And that, you know, that's that goes into a deeper understanding, a little bit more esoteric. But when you read in this chapter, and I don't know how far you're going to go into it, but it literally says, and the children of Israel were naked, you know, because Aaron had made them naked. So again, it just shows the vulnerability of the leadership and what, again, and this kind of goes into the last lesson I went into, you know, leadership being the base of the people, because when the leadership is faulty and, you know, it starts to, you know, go downhill, then that affects the rest of the people. And so a good leader would have stood 10 toes down and been like, nah, I ain't, you know, like, this is what the deal is. Moses, he good. he rapping with Yahweh. He's gonna come back soon. Y'all gotta hold y'all patience.
Mm-hmm.
But Aaron showed ineffective and in a unseemly leadership. He didn't hold it down how he was supposed to. And so what happened was, we rose up to play and went into idolatry and displeased the Most High God. But I yield right there.
Khan, all praises, King. And we gonna touch on that also too. The point about them being naked. Let's get verses 5 and 6.
Khan. Continuing on, verse 5. It says, "And when Aaron saw it, he built an altar before it. And Aaron made proclamation and said, Tomorrow is a feast to the Lord. And they rose up early on the morrow and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings. And the people sat down to eat and to drink and rose up to play."
Khan. So it says, and when Aaron saw it, he built an altar before it. And Aaron made proclamation and said, Tomorrow is a feast to Yahweh. I'm just like, when I'm reading this, I'm like, man, what was on Aaron? Aaron was tripping, man. Like, you gonna make a feast for Yahweh in the name of this idol that y'all just created. And you know better. He knows better. He's an actual priest, y'all. He's a master of the law. And he did this. It says, verse 6, and they rose up early on the morrow and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings. And the people sat down to eat and to drink and rose up to play. So when you look at this word for play, it's like it reads like it reads, and it is what it is. They were joyous, they were laughing, they were overjoyed that they were able to do this. And I just grab the word out just so everybody can see that to play in the Hebrew.
Huh.
And Shalom, Princess of Zion.
Gone. This is H6711. It's sakach, and it's a verb, and the usage is to laugh, mock, play, and it says to jest, to sport, play, make sport, toy with, make a toy of, and then it says to laugh outright, and then it's also mentions scorn. To sport, laugh, mock, play, make sport.
So they were happy, y'all. They was overjoyed that they were sacrificing to these idols. It's crazy work, but if you want to make a point, you can before we keep reading.
I was going to touch on that to play too, because when you look at that first usage, it says to laugh, mock, play,
right?
And when you look at just the action of what they're doing, which is obviously idolatry, this is actually a mockery when you just, like as the brother was going into, when you read it in context, because it's supposedly a feast to Yahweh, but it's mixed in with idolatry. So that in and of itself is like a huge scoff to the Most High, because you're blending in a deity and glorifying the deity alongside him, and that's like, that's of huge disrespect to the Most High.
They were having Yahweh Shai Day.
That's a good contemporary example.
God, oh my God! And y'all familiar? That's some Israelites that celebrate Thanksgiving, and they call it Yahweh Shai Day. Like it's very much so much of an equivalent of Yahweh Shai Day. Khan, Sister Wendy said Christians doing trunk or treat. Khan, it's like Brother Devon used to say, sprinkle a little Jesus on it.
Yeah. they did Holy Ween one year.
Yeah,
it was doing a Holy Ween. Crazy work.
Our people need help, man. Let's keep reading in Exodus 32, verses 7 through 10.
Jumping down to verse 7. And Yahweh said unto Moses, Go, get thee down, for thy people which thou broughtest out of the land of Egypt have corrupted themselves. They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them. They have made them a molten calf, and have worshipped it, and have sacrificed thereunto, and said, These be thy gods, O Israel, which have brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And Yahweh said unto Moses, I have seen this people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people. Now therefore let me alone, that my wrath may wax hot against them, and that I may consume them, and I will make of thee a great nation.
Con. So it says in verse 7, Yahweh said to Moses, Go get thee down, for thy people which thou broughtest out of the land of Egypt have corrupted themselves. They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them. They have made them a molten calf, and have worshipped it, and have sacrificed thereunto, and said, These be thy gods, O Israel, which have brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. You can just imagine how pissed off Yahweh is right now. It says, and Yahweh said unto Moses, I have seen this people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people. Now therefore, let me alone, that my wrath may wax hot against them, and that I may consume them, and I will make of thee a great nation. So Yahweh was at the point of destroying all of them that did that. And what ends up happening, I'm not going to read it. Moses intercedes for them and like, please don't do it, Father. Just have mercy on them. And it says that Yahweh repented from what he was going to do, which that just means he turned away from. He didn't carry out the thought that to destroy them completely and then raise up more children through Moses. He didn't carry out that thought. But it's so crazy because like they should have been more thankful, more aware, and more cognizant of what they just went through. You just came out of Egypt under this hard oppression, and you just got brought out miraculously. You were able to see these people that were trying to chase you down to kill you actually be killed by the Most High for trying to kill you, trying to pursue you. So they seen the plagues. They saw all those plagues and everything in the land, y'all. Like, can you wrap your mind around somebody that still would go and commit idolatry after doing that? Definitely stiff-necked. But Ak, if you want to add something, you can.
Kind of just one point in the book of Hebrews. Bring this out. Go to the book of Hebrews. And I believe this is book of Hebrews chapter 3. And I'll start at verse 16. It says, For some, when they had heard, did provoke, howbeit not all that came out of Egypt by Moses. But with whom was he grieved 40 years? Was it not with them that had sinned, whose carcasses fell in the wilderness? And that's talking about children of Israel being in the wilderness that came out of Egypt with, Moses and Aaron, etc. Verse 18. And to whom sware he that they should not enter into his rest, but to them that believed not. So we see that they could not enter in because of unbelief. And when you read throughout the Torah, specifically in the book of Deuteronomy 32, but also in the book of Numbers 14, we see that the children of Israel, they were plagued with unbelief. Although they saw all the signs of the Most High, as the brother mentioned, from the plagues of Egypt to the Most High providing them food when they needed it, specifically in Exodus 15 and 16, water, etc. The Most High provided all of these means for their survival and nourishment, but they still, gave back the Most High unbelief. And so when you continue on to read throughout the Torah, it calls them or classifies them as a people that are without no faith, roughly paraphrasing. And that's in Deuteronomy 32. And so when you read Hebrews chapter 3 and also Psalm 95, Deuteronomy 1 through 3, it teaches that generation grieved the Most High. And so as a result of their unbelief, they weren't able to enter into the rest or the world to come, so to speak, which would have been, their kingdom, their sovereignty. And so, like, because they kept dropping the ball, they kept allowing people to stay alive, and things like that. You never really see them fully in their rest because of their unbelief, which is unfaithfulness. Because like unbelief, it isn't only just I don't I don't know if you can do it or not. It's not like it's not just doubt, but it includes doubt, but then it manifests itself by disobedience because you don't actually believe, regardless of what you've seen and what's been proven. It makes itself manifest through your disobedience. So just wanted to add that point, because children of Israel, them being a people of unbelief, them being a stiff-necked people, regardless of all of the signs that they've seen, we have to do the opposite, as you read in the book of Hebrews, the 4th chapter, right? I'll just close it out with this, Hebrews chapter 4, and I'll pass it back to you. Starting at verse 1, it says, "Let us therefore fear, lest a promise being left us of entering into his rest, any of you should seem to come short of it. For unto us was the gospel preached, as well as unto them. But the word preached did not profit them, not being mixed with faith in them that heard it." So the scripture just said that they heard the gospel, and they would have heard the gospel message through Moses. Moses would have retold them these things. They would have understood it through the tellings in Deuteronomy, etc. But even after hearing these things, it didn't move their hearts to repent toward the Most High and to actually walk upright. They're still reckoned as a people in whom there is no faith. So we have to literally do the opposite of that, because again, like, they got to see it up close and personal, and we just get to read about these things. But even Yahushua, he said, "Blessed is he that believes and has not seen." So your faith is counted for something great, even if you can just believe it but have not even experienced it or got to see it yourself. But I yield right there.
Khan, all praise. Sister, when it says stiff neck is an understatement. Khan, it's wicked. It's wicked. And I mean, when you think about it, it's like your own kids, like your ungrateful child, that you do it all the things for to make sure that they have the necessities and the things that they're supposed to have, and then they go and just do something off the wall that they know you don't approve of, that you tell them not to do. It's crazy. Just bad little kids. That's how you can look at this text. Well, let's go to verses 15 through 24.
Jumping down to verse 15 through 24. "And Moses turned and went down from the mount, and the 2 tables of the testimony were in his hand. The tables were written on both their sides. On the one side and on the other were they written. And the tables were the work of God, and the writing was the writing of God graven upon the tables. And when Joshua heard the noise of the people as they shouted, he said unto Moses, There is a noise of war in the camp. And he said, It is not the voice of them that shout for mastery, neither is it the voice of them that cry for being overcome, but the noise of them that sing do I hear."
Through 24.
Oh, through 24. It's like, I thought I heard 18, my fault. Verse 19. "And it came to pass, as soon as he came nigh unto the camp, that he saw the calf and the dancing, and Moses' anger waxed hot, and he cast the tables out of his hands and brake them beneath the mount. And he took the calf which they had made and burnt it in the fire, and ground it to powder, and strawed it upon the water, and made the children of Israel drink it. And Moses said unto Aaron, What did this people unto thee, that thou hast brought so great a sin upon them? And Aaron said, Let not the anger of my Lord wax hot. Thou knowest the people, that they are set on mischief. For they said unto me, Make us gods, which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what is become of him. And I said unto them, Whosoever hath any gold, let them break it off. So they gave it me. Then I cast it into the fire, and there came out this calf.
And Salaki, y'all, if I get kicked off the stream because the light's flickering, I think the weather probably bad outside or something, wind blowing, because it's been raining all day. But if it do kick me out, I'll be right back on. But yeah, so when we looking at, verses, the first few verses 15 through 18, we see Moses comes down from the mount and he has the tables in his hand. He has the tablets in his hand, and he hears a loud noise. So he's like, man, he thinking that, we about to go to war. And Joshua's like, nah, I don't think that's a war noise. No, Moses is like, I don't think that's a war noise. Joshua heard the noise and believed that it was a noise of war. And Moses says, nah, it's not the voice of them that shout for mastery. Neither is it the voice of them that cry for being overcome. But the noise of them that sing do I hear. And it came to pass, as soon as he came near into the camp, that he saw the calf and the dancing, and Moses' anger waxed hot. And he cast the tables out of his hands and brake them beneath the mountain. He pissed off. And he took the calf which they had made and burnt it in the fire and ground it to powder and strawed it up upon the water and made the children of Israel drink it. So he came down with a vengeance. And like we were discussing earlier, Aaron possibly had a little fear because it was so many of them and they were demanding this thing. Moses didn't care nothing about that. He came down with passion for the Most High and wanted to gain their ears and their attention and let them understand how bad of an act this was that they had just partaken in. It says in verse 21, and Moses said unto Aaron, what did this people unto thee, that thou hast brought so great a sin upon them? So right now, Moses is placing the blame on Aaron and saying, you did this. You placed this sin on them because you are the one that actually erected this calf. You're the one that put it in the fire and made sure that they were able to worship this idol. It says, and Aaron said, let not the anger of my Lord wax hot. Thou knowest the people, that they are set on mischief. For they said unto me, make us gods, which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we were not what has become of him. So he's already making excuses and saying, oh, these people, man, they want to be wicked anyway. Well, why you help them be wicked, Aaron? Makes no sense as a leader. It says, and I said unto them, whosoever have any gold, let them break it off. So they gave it me. Then I cast it into the fire, and there came out this calf. Really? Did you throw this stuff in the fire and then a calf just came out on his own? No, you crafted this calf. It shows us that in the beginning of this chapter, when it spoke of him crafting this calf for them. And I'll go back up to it in verse 4. It says, and he received them at their hand and fashioned it with a graving tool after he had made it a molten calf. And they said, these be thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. So he put forth the effort to actually be an architect in creating this idol. It's crazy. No excuse for it. Just bad leadership. If you could read verse 25.
The book of Exodus, chapter 32, and verse 25. And when Moses saw that the people were naked, for Aaron had made them naked unto their shame among their enemies.
Not that they were physically naked, not that they were standing there with no clothes on. That's why in parentheses it says, for Aaron had made them naked unto their shame among their enemies. Because you think about what happens when we're disobedient to the Most High, we can get conquered by any enemy. So they were naked unto their shame among their enemies. So if war was about to happen right after they did this idolatry, they would have been overcame. They would have been dead. Because this is what happens. That's the consequence of when we get into idolatry. Anything that is us breaking the commandments of the Most High. Khan, Sister Wendy, uncover. And Brother Aaron kind of referred to this earlier because it was the same thing with Adam and Eve. And this is how we, people, the common theme of when people they have these visuals of the Adam and Eve story. They have them covering themselves up with physical leaves as if they were really butt booty naked in the Garden of Eden. That's not what it's saying. It's saying that they were uncovered because it's not that their eyes were open and now, oh, I can see Eve is naked. Oh, I see Adam is naked. They seen each other naked already when they laid together. That ain't what it's saying. It's just saying that they're uncovered now. The Most High, he ain't got your back when you go into these trials and tribulations because you're uncovered. You disrespected your head. But Ak, you can add if you want to.
Nah, nothing to add, King. Great point.
Khan, all praise to the Most High. So, yeah, y'all. So I wanted to just get into that account because I believe it was important as far as an example of some of our people that we can learn from. That's the opposite example of the example we're supposed to set. They were not sober. They were not circumspect. They were not vigilant. They didn't pay attention. They weren't on point. And they allowed the devil to come in, influence them to do the things they knew that they shouldn't do. But let's go back to 1 Peter 5. And let's read the last few verses 12 through 14.
This 1 Peter 5:12. By Silvanus, a faithful brother unto you, as I suppose, I have written briefly, exhorting and testifying that this is the true grace of God wherein ye stand. The church that is at Babylon, elected together with you, saluteth you, and so doth Marcus my son. Greet ye one another with a kiss of charity. Peace be with you, all that are in Hamashiach Yahushai. Amen.
Amen. So yeah, I don't have anything behind that. That's just him ending this letter with giving peace, wishing peace upon the people and exhorting, making sure they know that he's exhorting, encouraging them and addressing them so that people are able to take advantage of this information that was in this letter, this first book of Peter. So all praise to the Most High. Look forward to getting started on the book of 2 Peter. So I don't have anything else. Ak, if you got anything that you want to add, you can.
Khan. One quick point. So in verse 13, and I wish I had this source pulled up, but in verse 13, when it says the church that is at Babylon, elected together with you, saluteth you, and so doth Marcus my son. That Marcus is in reference to Mark that penned the Gospel of Mark, and what's accepted within patristic sources is that the Gospel of Mark was penned by Mark, who is the cousin of Barnabas, but it came from the tradition and the oral reciting of Peter. And so Mark, he's getting his account from the mouth of Peter, who was there. Now, reason why, that's just one reason why I'm highlighting that. But second reason why is because when you look at Babylon right here, it's really interesting because you have, ancient Babylon, which Judah, they were oppressed by. But during this particular time, Marcus is actually in Rome. And I want to read this real quick. Let me, I'm going to copy and paste it. I'm going to put it into the chat. And this is from a source called the New Testament Survey. by Robert A. Gundry. And it says the presence of Mark in Rome, symbolically called Babylon, according to 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 13. So this is just, a source basically backing up the claim and assertion I'm making that Mark is actually in Babylon, in Rome, but Peter is calling the church in Rome Babylon. So that's just one point that I think like a lot of people they make arguments about, and there's like a whole debate about the fourth beast and all of these things, and Rome not having anything to do with anything in that. Like it's a bunch of arguments out there, but this, like, someone that would have to deal with this, like, why would Peter call the church that Marcus is at, or Mark is at, Babylon? Like, why would he call it that? So I wanted to add that point in, and I just say, like, beautiful lesson through the Spirit and power of the Most High. I definitely enjoyed it. Definitely enjoyed the book as a whole. Powerful epistle. I'm looking forward to the second one, but all praises to the Most High God.
Khan, all praises. Anybody got any questions or comments? You can place them in the chat. And I'll give a second. And while I'm doing that, I'll play something. I have a song that's coming out tonight, y'all, at 12:00 a.m. So make sure you put it on your notification. Should be whatever streaming site you're on. You should be able to see it, I believe. Well, now you probably can't see it right now, but if you already connected to my streaming platforms, you'll be able to see it when it hits tonight. So I'll just play this while we wait and make sure nobody has any comments or any questions.
We stick together, we can do anything. I'm sick of seeing my people fail, that's on everything. Either we gon' stand up for something or fall for anything. Death in prison, our only option, we don't wanna change.
Understanding of a grace, we're being treated just like slaves. From the womb to the tomb, this has got to change. Understanding of a grace, hey look, are you adding to the pain? From the womb to the tomb, this has got to change.
But yeah, all praise to the Most High. So that's from the womb to the tomb. And it's a project I did for somebody, and it's for an event. It's for her organization, and that event is on the 13th. But I also have the video for Love Yourself that's going to be coming out on Monday. So all praise, honor, glory to the Most High. I don't see any comments. You can close us out.
Khan, all praise to the Most High. We'll close it out with Numbers 6 and 24 on down. Yahweh bless thee and keep thee. Yahweh make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. Yahweh lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. And with that, I'll say shalom.
Shalom, Mark. Shalom, family.
You gotta love yourself before you learn how to love somebody. You better love yourself. You gotta love yourself before you learn how to love somebody. You better love yourself. You gotta love yourself before you learn how to love somebody. You better love yourself. When I say love yourself, ain't talking about you pleasing your flesh. More like practicing refraining from what's bringing you depth. The cares and wonders of the world, that's what be bringing you stress. Trying to keep up with them trends, that's what got you depressed. We be the biggest consumers, but really need to invest. We so predictable, they don't see us as a threat. Mentality's full of trash, when we gon' clean up the mess? Our community, the worst, so who gon' bring out the best? We got low expectations, so we settle for less. We get undeserved kindness, so we think that we blessed. We don't love ourselves, that's why we be killing each other. We still breaking commandments, that's why we stuck in the struggle.
Ain't no free will, it's all predestinated. From every death to every child brought forth through copulation. For the spouse that you choose to your current occupation, you either receive mercy or Yahweh's indignation. I can recollect on times that I could have been dead. Caught lacking, no strap, I had a knife instead. Played it cool, he wanted to kill me for how I used to move. Had to match his energy, portray that I was strapped too. But inside I'm praying to God, hoping he don't shoot. Still I'm whooping, telling him I know what he won't do. It ain't for everybody. 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 Yeah, many are called, but few get chosen. Matthew 22.